Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to QHE channel. In this series of videos, Alhamdulillah, we are learning morphology of Arabic verbs. Inshallah, let's begin. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Let's see what we will cover in this session, inshallah. So in this session, inshallah, we'll go over the keys of the last assignment. There was a small assignment. And we will also identify simple verbs in the midst of other words in the verses in Quran. You know, we have been so far identifying words that was given to us. How about when you try to find the simple verbs in the midst of other words? That is a little different experience. Inshallah, we will start that today. Inshallah. Let's go over our last assignment. Inshallah. So in the last assignment, we had three words, kutiba, ghalabat, kasabu. Okay, now let's go over the answers. I'm sure you worked on them, so let's go over them together, inshallah. So the first word was kutiba. Kutiba, the moment you see it, you recognize this is a past tense and this is passive past, right? Because kutiba, because you see kuti. And this is definitely third person singular male. And the root letters are kaf, ta, ba. And when you enter kaf, ta, ba in the dictionary, from the transliteration, you get the past tense, third person singular male active past tense pattern, kataba. And next to the transliteration, you saw U, letter U. That means the second root letter, ta, should have a dhamma. That's how you get the present tense pattern, yaktubu. This is the third person singular male active present tense pattern, yaktubu. You also get the base meaning as to write. So what will be the final meaning? This is a passive past and the subject or the object on which the work was done was a third person singular male. So he or it. So the final meaning is it was written. Okay. Next word, ghalabat. The moment you see ta sakin at the end, that means this is past tense. And we also don't see ghulib, right? So this is active past tense. And when you run the table, which aspects do you fall? Where does it fall? Fa'ala, fa'ala, fa'alu, fa'alat. So it falls under this aspect, third person singular female. So if I exclude the ta sakina, I get ghain, lam, ba as the root letters. And when you enter these root letters in this sequence, of course, you get the transliteration in dictionary of the past tense pattern. You get it? You get ghalaba. Okay? And next to the transliteration, you see I, letter I. That means the second root letter, lam, should have a kasra. So the present tense pattern is yaghlibu. Ghalaba yaghlibu. Base meaning is to conquer. And because it's an active past and the doer is a third person singular female, so she conquered. Okay. Now let's look into the next word. The next word was kasabu, kasabu. So the moment you see this suffix, you recognize this is past tense and you don't see any prefix either, right? So this is active because it's not kusi. So this is active past tense. And obviously the aspects are third person plural male. Like for example, nasara, nasara, nasaru. Okay. So if you exclude the suffix, the root letters are ka, sin, ba. And when I enter these root letters, the transliteration tells me the past tense pattern, kasaba. And you will see an I next to the transliteration. That means sin should have a kasra. That's how you get yaksibu. Kasaba, yaksibu. So these root letters takes this pattern. The base meaning you get to earn. Okay. And the final meaning will be what? This is an active past tense. The doer is a third person plural male. So the final meaning will be they aren't. Okay. Hopefully you worked on these words and you understand the identifications. If you have any question, please put in the comment section, inshallah. Let's now move into our assignment for today or our work for today. What we are going to learn today, we are going to learn identifying the simple verbs in the midst of other words in the verse. Okay. Before we do that, let's take a quick look. Let's do a review of the 6 types of simple verbs before identifying them in the midst of the other words. Why we need to review them again? Because some of the other verbs, they will have same kind of prefix, suffix, so it might be a little confusing. That's why we really need to understand the basic patterns of the simple verbs. So let's go over the past tense first. So in the second right column, we have active past tense. Active past tense, you can see only the middle, the second root letter vowel is changing. And the first root letter always have fatha. So whenever we will see a pattern like that, we should know this is simple verb and this is active past. You also notice some of the patterns are repeated, right? For example, nasara, daraba, fataha, they're repeated. Sami'a, hasiba, repeated. Karuma is the only one is not repeated. So anytime any of these, either karuma kind of pattern or any of these repeated pattern matches with any of the new words we're going to see, we will conclude that's a simple verb, that's a past active tense. Okay. Now let's look into passive. Passive, you can see nusira, duriba, sumi'a, futiha, husiba, all have same pattern. First root letter dhamma, second root letter kasra. So anytime we will see a pattern like that, our conclusion will be this is simple verb and this is passive past tense. Now how about the present tense? Present tense, all the time the prefix will have present tense active, the prefix will have fatha. Okay, and the second root letter will have sukoon. Sorry, first root letter will have sukoon and the second root letter always have different vowels. Okay, so let's look into that. For example, yang suru, this is also it has dhamma, the second root letter. You also have exactly same pattern. Another one, yakrubu, yang suru, yakrumu, they're exactly same pattern. Yadribu, yahsibu, exactly same pattern. Yasma'u, yaftahu, exactly same pattern. So anytime any of these repeated patterns matches with any of the word, our conclusion will be this is a simple verb and this is active present tense. Now passive present tense, all the time the prefix will have dhamma and the second root letter always will have fatha. There is no change. All 6 types, exactly same pattern. So this is very important to notice the passive present tense because there is one verb in the mazid fi, it has some similarity. I will show you. So now let's go into the verses and try to identify simple verbs, inshallah. Bismillah. So we have over here verses 6 to 10 from Surah Al-Baqarah, and we will try to identify the simple verbs. The way I will do, I will browse over the words and I will pause where I will see a simple verb. So let's begin. So these two words, definitely they don't look like simple verb. How about this one? Kafaru, it does, right? It looks like a active past tense, right? Like nasara, nasara, nasaru, right? So this is a simple verb. So we will underline this verb and also we will make a note in our notebook because we're going to identify it completely later on, inshallah. Okay, then let's move on. Let's try to browse over. And so far we don't see simple verbs. This is a dhamir. I don't want to cover any verb with dhamir at this point. Later on when we will learn, we will do. How about this verb? يؤمنون. I see ya dhamma. That tells me, and also I see una then. So that tells me this is probably simple passive. But how about the second root letter? The first root letter has sukun, which is good, which should be. And how about the second root letter? It has kasra. But what we know, the second root letter for simple verb has to have, for passive present tense, has to have fatha, like yunsaru, yuftahu, yusma'u, right? So this is not a simple verb. Okay, let's move on. How about khatama? This is definitely a simple verb, right? This is active past tense. So we will underline this word. Now let's move on, inshallah. We don't see any simple verb yet. Not here yet. Let's move on. Now this word yaqulu, you might think this matches with yansuru. Actually it does not, right? Yansuru will have what? The first root letter have a sukun, but it's not. So this is not a simple verb. Let's move on. We don't see simple verb here. Okay. This one, yukhadi'una, it has a dhamma at the beginning and the suffix. It tells you that this is present tense, passive, or we don't know. At this point, I will say that let's not think about this verb because it does not match with any of the pattern we learned, right? This one has the first root letter, has an alif saghira. Okay. How about this word? Yakhda'una. Does it match? It does, right? Like for example, yasma'una, yaftahuna. So it does match. So this is also another simple verb we found. So far we found 3 simple verbs. We found kafaru, khatama, yakhda'una. Let's make a note of them in our notebook and we will identify them, inshallah. Okay, let's move on. Let's go and see whether there is more simple verbs. Okay, now let's look again, inshallah. So we finished here. So let's look and find. How about this word? Yashuruna. Does it match? It does, right? Yansuruna, yakrumuna, right? So this is another simple verb. Okay, good. Now let's look more. We don't see any match. Oh, but there, no match yet. How about this word? Yakdhibuna. It does. Yadribuna, yahsibuna. So it does match. So this is a simple verb. Alhamdulillah. So far we found 5 words, okay, in this page. So inshallah, we will now go ahead and identify these words completely. This is, in general, we identified, okay, this is simple verbs. Now let's identify them completely, inshallah. So let's go over a table like this, inshallah. Let's do a complete identification of the words we found. So the first word we found, kafaru, okay? Obviously from the suffix, you can tell this is a past tense and this is not kufi. So this is active past, like nasara, nasara, nasaru. This is active past. And from the suffix, you can tell this is third person plural male. If I exclude the suffix, what are the root letters? Kaf, fa, ra. And when I enter these root letters, dictionary will give me the transliteration for the active past tense and we'll get kafara. So this root letter gives kafara as the active past tense. And you will also see an I next to the transliteration. That means the second root letter fa should have a kasra. That's how you get yakfiru. So the root letters kaf, fa, ra gives the pattern kafara, yakfiru. Okay, and the base meaning is to cover or not to believe. So what will be the final meaning? So our tense is active past and our doer is third person plural male. It's a group. So how would I translate? If I take this translation, so it will be they did not believe. Okay, let's look into the next word. Next word we found khotama. Okay, khotama, it's very easy, active past tense, right? And it is third person singular male. Root letters kha, ta, mim. When you enter the dictionary, the transliteration tells you the past tense pattern should be khotama. That's what actually our word also. And there should be you should see an I next to the transliteration. So that tells you the present tense pattern should be yakhtimu, yakhtimu. And the base meaning is to seal. So what will be the final meaning? It's an active past and the doer is a third person singular male. So the final meaning will be he sealed. Okay, let's look into our third word. Our third word is yakhda'una, yakhda'una. So obviously it looks like a present tense, right? So how do we know it's present tense? We see prefix, we see suffix, and also the prefix has fatha. So this is active present tense. And how about the aspects? For example, yaf'alu, yaf'alani, yaf'aluna. So where does it fall? Third person plural male. And if I exclude the prefix, the suffix, what are the root letters? Kha, dal, ain. So kha, dal, ain are the root letters. When you enter these root letters in the dictionary, from the transliteration, you see the past tense, third person singular male active past tense pattern should be khodama, khoda'a, sorry, khoda'a, kha, dal, ain, and the so past tense pattern is khoda'a. Okay, and also you will see an A, letter A next to the transliteration that tells you that dal should have a fatha. So that's how you get yakhda'u. So kha, dal, ain, these root letters gives this pattern. Khada'a, yakhda'u. The base meaning is to cheat or to mislead. So what will be the final meaning? This is an active past tense and the doer is a third person plural male. It's like a group, they. So the meaning will be they misled. Okay. We have two more words that we found. Let's go over them, inshallah. So we found, next word we found yash'uruna. Obviously, when you see pattern like that, you know this is active present. And also when you run, like for example, yang suru, yang surani, yang suruna. So this is third person plural male. If I exclude the prefix, suffix, the root letters are shin, ain, ra. Shin, ain, ra. Now if you enter these root letters in this sequence, of course, the transliteration will tell you the third person singular male active past pattern should be sha'ara. Okay, and you will see a U, letter U next to the transliteration that tells you the second root letter ain should have a dhamma. That's how you get the third person singular male active present tense pattern yash'uru. So shin, ain, ra, these root letters give the pattern sha'ara, yash'uru. And the base meaning is to learn or to realize. So what will be the final meaning? This is an active present tense and the doer are third person plural male. So the final meaning will be they realize. Okay. Our last word that we found, yakdhibuna. Yakdhibuna. Obvious, right? This is active present tense. From the pattern you can tell, and also ya has a fatha, so this is active present tense. And this is third person plural male. If you exclude the prefix, suffix, the root letters are kaf, dal, ba, kaf, dal, ba. When you enter, the dictionary gives you the transliteration for the third person singular male active past tense, kadhaba. Okay, and next to the transliteration, you'll see letter I that tells you letter dal, the second root letter should have kasra. So that's how you get the third person singular male active present tense pattern, yakdhibu. So kaf, dal, ba, this root letter gives this pattern, kadhaba, yakdhibu. Base meaning is to lie or to deceive. So what will be the final meaning? This is an active present tense. The doer is a third person plural male. They lie. Okay. Hopefully you understood the identifications. And if you have any question, please put in the comment section. Now let's take a small assignment, inshallah, for the next session. Before the next session, try to solve this assignment, inshallah. Try to find simple verbs from verses 17 to 20 in Surah Al-Baqarah. Try to find the simple verbs. You can look into the screen, or you can go to your mushaf, verses 17 to 20, Surah Al-Baqarah, and try to, inshallah, make a chart like that in your notebook and fill up the chart with the words that you find. So you will find, inshallah, so write the verbs you find, then find the tense, voice, aspect, root letters, and go to dictionary, inshallah, find the past and present tense pattern, the base meaning, and then formulate the final meaning, inshallah. So that was our session for today. Let's see what's coming up in the next session, inshallah. In the next session, inshallah, we will go over the assignment that I just assigned. We'll go over the keys. We will learn particles. Remember the very first session I mentioned to you, there are some particles that actually changes the grammatical state of the verbs that we will learn. Inshallah, we will learn particles that come before the verbs, and also we will learn the grammatical states of the verbs associated with the particles. Okay, inshallah. Again, if you have any question, put in the comment section. Until then, please keep us in your dua. And also, if you find this session beneficial, please share with your friends and family. And until next session, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.